No wonder people are worried. Most are lucky to be just getting by. Many are falling behind. And there are people in this country who are just hanging on by a thread. These are citizens of our country. We are their servants. We owe them hope. They don't need a government that sneers at them, looks down on them, calls them names. They don't need a government to run their lives. They need a government that can run a passport office.
Hi, I'm Guy.
And I'm Matt.
And today we're talking to Pierre Poilievre. This is part 1 of 3. And we'll just give our general take before we get into more specifics, I guess.
Yeah, so he just won for the head of the Conservative Party after a disastrous performance by Erin O'Toole. I think he's probably hopefully going to bring a different perspective to what the Conservative Party is, because a lot of people usually keep getting turned off because it used to be very old school of thinking about Conservative policy, but hopefully, and with what he's been showing, he's going to bring some new fresh ideas into the fold and into the race against Trudeau, hopefully soon.
Well, what you're seeing happen in the States, I think 5 years later now, you're going to see it happen in Canada. You're going to see a conservative populist movement most likely rise here. And it could be a great thing to see because it has the ability to unite most of Canada. Now, not all of Canada. Obviously, there'll be some hardcore leftist liberals that may not want to unite under the banner of populism, but populism should be able to unite a lot of libertarians, a lot of conservatives, and in Canada we have a party known as the NDP, which used to be the Workers' Party, but Jagmeet Singh just has not represented the workers very well, and I think they're looking for a populist leader that they're willing to vote outside of their normal party lines, which would be nice to see.
Yeah, and again, he also brings a lot of opportunity for alliances. The PPC saw a pretty good performance. The People's Party of Canada, which was very quiet for a long time, saw a 10% increase in votes casted for them during the past election, which surprised everyone. But he has a good opportunity to make those alliances with different parties to actually bring in more Canadians away from just the convenience vote that they were giving to Trudeau and the Liberals. Yeah,
I think a lot of young Canadians are like me. We don't vote on party lines. I like the PPC, and that's traditionally who I would vote for, but I want Trudeau out of office, and Poilievre looks like a good candidate. He has all the right messages. He's saying all the right things. As long as he doesn't flip-flop from now until the end of the election, you most likely have my vote. But we've seen what happened with Erin O'Toole. He flip-flopped. The good thing about Poilievre, he's been very, very consistent over the last 20 years, and he has had that populist message, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and as you were saying with younger Canadians, I think one of the biggest parts of the issue is that people are just disconnected from politics here. Everyone's had it so easy for the past 10, 20 years that they just don't care, and they don't know what's going on, and there's so much policy being passed by the liberal government that is really infringing on people's rights and freedoms, and I'm worried that by the time they all realize what's going on, it's going to be too late and harder to get all of that reversed and to bring, as Poilievre says, to bring freedom back.
I think a big part of who Poilievre is his ability to communicate. He knows the inner workings of the policy, which plays to his benefit, especially against somebody like Trudeau, who's a drama teacher, and he only knows talking points, and he knows how to try to emotionally connect in a non-authentic way to his audience. And some people buy it, but most people see right through him. And when people push him on secondary questions, he doesn't have answers for it, and he often answers to completely different questions just to get other talking points in. Poilievre knows the nuts and bolts of the housing situation, of the economic crisis, of our natural resource sector, and our monetary policies, and he goes in depth. We'll leave a few links below for interviews that we had watched with Poilievre, and some of them are dry, but those are very important interviews because he goes into detail and he's not afraid to have an opinion and tell you how he believes things work.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, he's a career politician, and we sometimes see where that can lead to. There are obviously concerns of influences, as we've seen with the Liberal Party and Trudeau, both from China, the World Economic Forum, a bunch of other places that can very easily influence politicians, especially if they've been in the game for that long. So we do have to wait and see if he can stick by, if he can stay consistent with what he's proposing, if he hasn't been captured, basically, but as many of these institutions have been by foreign influences and a lot of corruption going on very, very in the back where we don't see it, where nobody can really go report it, go investigate it. So I think it is important that even if he's mentioning that he wants no members of the World Economic Forum in his cabinet, A, that he sticks by it, and B, that it's not just a facade and that he's not just saying it to please his base, which is right now we are very against the World Economic Forum. So again, we have to wait and see. That's the gamble we take with democracy and with politicians, that we're asking to serve us, and that's what they should be doing. They should be serving us and not foreign interests or just global interests.
And I think now's a good time to mention, I'm going to mention it in all three videos because I'm hoping to make it a thing, but I bought maybe 50 to 60 Chinese flags. We'll bring a couple of them out so people can know what I'm talking about. I have smaller flags, kind of like this, and then I have a bunch of large flags like this. I have them all in my closet, and I was hoping for Trudeau to come out for some rallies, but he seems to be scared to speak in public now. But the next time he speaks in public, especially if he comes to here in Vancouver, you're going to see me and a bunch of my friends come out with my Chinese flags and support Trudeau and show him how much the Chinese Communist Party supports him as well, because I know he supports the Chinese Communist Party. So we're going to get out there, and I encourage, if Trudeau comes to speak in your city, to bring some World Economic Forum and Chinese Communist Party flags and wave them. And if they tell you to take down those flags, that just shows how racist they are, number one. And number two, it gives a very distinct connection between Trudeau and the Chinese Communist Party, which he's had over basically his whole, all of his terms. And there's going to be media at these Trudeau rallies, and when they take pictures, if there's enough World Economic Forum and Chinese Communist Party flags there supporting Trudeau, it's going to be really hard to publish those pictures and not address the issue of Trudeau and his connections to the Chinese Communist Party. So if you like the idea, get yourself some Chinese flags, get yourself some World Economic Forum flags, and go out to the next Trudeau rally and show him some support, because I know I'll be there.
I mean, he always says that the people that go protest at his rallies are very violent and they're very dangerous, but if you're just there waving a Chinese flag, there's not much he can say. And if he tries to go against the Chinese flag and say that that was a attack against his campaign or whatever, then he's going to get in trouble with his leaders, basically. So it really gives him no outs, and it also gives you a way to protest in a way that's not gonna. It's civilized.
It's civil protest. Yeah, it's civilized. It's non-violent, and you don't have to be a loudmouth protester out there. You can simply stand there with a flag peacefully, and if a news reporter asks you, just say, I'm here, showing support for Trudeau with the Chinese Communist Party.
And his leaders.
Because it's the best idea. I can come up for a protest because I've been to a lot of protests, and we were filming a lot of them. And you just see a lot of negativity and a lot of people yelling, and these people being thrown out as radicals.
And demonized.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the actual things that you're protesting sometimes don't get through to, like, your point doesn't come out as you think it will, because again, it gets really heated and people are angry, but this is a good way, I guess, to
Yeah.
Sarcastically
Show your support to whether it's the PPC, whether it's the Conservative Party or the NDP. Show that up at a Justin Trudeau rally. You don't have to necessarily go to a Conservative Party rally. And that's it for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2.
And please subscribe if you're interested, if you like it. Comment, what do you think about Pierre Poilievre? What do you think about the Conservative Party? And we'd like to get more subscribers because we'd love to be able to go to these rallies and live stream them and do longer shows. So we really do need to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you like us, please subscribe. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Guy.
And I'm Matt.
And today we're talking Pierre Poilievre. That's right. Hi, I'm Guy.